Relationships give avoidance a baseline of stress. Just by being in the relationship, the avoidant feels stressed. And this is especially true if you are dealing with a dismissive avoidant or a fearful avoidant that leans heavily dismissive. For a healthier, emotionally available person, being in a relationship is a source of stress relief. When there's time of crisis or stress, you lean into your partner for that love, that connection, that emotional support. The avoidant, however, they lean out, and that's because the relationship stresses them out. They feel pressure just by being in the relationship, pressure to be emotionally available, pressure to give something of themselves to their partner, pressure to be vulnerable, pressure to meet expectations of their partner. Now, when there is no other stress, when there's no other life stress going on, no work stress, no financial crisis, no health scares, well, then the avoidant can tolerate that stress because the validation and the affection that they're getting in the relationship, it outweighs the stress. But when there are external stresses that happen, those life stresses like a financial crisis, a health scare, the death of a family member, something of the sort, well, now that relationship stress becomes overwhelming to the avoidant. They have very specific triggers that go back to childhood, and it's due to consistent childhood emotional neglect. This is a person that didn't get that love and nurturing in the way that they needed as a child. Their feelings were routinely dismissed, and they often had parents that were very smothering and controlling, but not in a nurturing way. So what they learned is that emotional intimacy isn't safe. Communicating their feelings and needs, not safe. And they learned that they struggled to meet the expectations of their parents or their caretakers. So things like emotional intimacy, any kind of disagreements, and any kind of expectations are very stressful for them. So now, when life stresses happen, it becomes insurmountable to the avoidant, and they look to relieve themselves of stress. Well, they can't cut out their health, usually can't cut out their job, their finances, or their family. The most disposable item in their life becomes the relationship. So they stress dump. They look to relieve themselves of stress by cutting out the relationship, cutting out you. And you are devastated. The relationship felt wonderful until there was a crisis or stressor of some sort. And suddenly they're shut down and telling you that they can't give you what you need and they just need time and space to work on themselves. It can be absolutely blindsiding. Maybe it was you that's in the hospital and you needed their support, or you had a stressor, a crisis, and instead of being there for you, they ran away. And it can feel absolutely earth-shattering. But this is because of their insecurities, their unhealed attachment wounds, their triggers, and also the fact that they have learned from childhood to prioritize themselves. And a dismissive avoidant that is not working on themselves lacks the capacity to actually prioritize the needs and the feelings of their partner. It becomes solely themselves that they're focused on, soothing themselves, soothing their stress, relieving their triggers. So when they're triggered, even though you need them now more than ever, they're not considering you. They're not considering the impact that blindsiding you and discarding you in the middle of this crisis has. They're only thinking of themselves and soothing themselves. They've been programmed to do so since childhood because they couldn't rely on anybody else for their emotional needs, and they learned the only person that they can rely on is themselves. So through repetition throughout their life, they learn to prioritize themselves, prioritize their needs, prioritize their feelings. But it is also a reflection of their character. When you have a crisis or there's a family stress going on of some sort and they completely ditch you, it is a choice. Yes, it's fueled by their capacity issues, by their unhealed attachment wounds, but they are a fully grown adult and they do absolutely have the ability to make a different choice. But it's not a reflection of you or anything that you did wrong. It's a reflection of them and their limited capacity. And when they end the relationship, they do feel a sense of stress relief because they no longer have to give something of themselves to you. They no longer have to meet your expectations. They no longer have to be vulnerable for you. And they do feel relief. And it's unfortunate because you feel devastated, but they are feeling relief. And again, it's not a reflection of you.